What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and this is it. One of the big ones. One of the biggest weeks of the NFL season. It is week 17. It is the last week of the regular season. Black Monday is coming a couple of days away. We'll talk a little bit about that too. But this is week 17 of my weekly NFL pick show for the 2012-2013 NFL season. You may have noticed that the screen just lit up just a little bit. That is because I got my computer right here and I was taking a look at the playoff scenarios, what playoff scenarios are ready to play themselves out this week. And while the AFC is, basically cut and dry, the NFC is a clusterfuck with all the possible teams that can make the wild card, teams possibly going from the wild card to winning a division, even possibly clinching a bye. The NFC is a mess right now. We are going to talk about the playoff scenarios in both the AFC and the NFC in this episode. Very quickly speaking, as far as the AFC goes, there's not a lot to play for in terms of what teams are going to get in. The 6 teams that are in are the 6 teams that are going to be in. Nobody else can sneak up and grab one of those wild card spots. However, that being said, every team in the AFC that is making the playoffs, every team has something to play for except the Baltimore Ravens. Whether the Ravens win, lose, or tie, and irregardless of what every other team does around them, the Ravens are locked in to that number 4 spot. Even if they win and the Patriots lose, they can't move up to number 3. We know that whoever gets, I believe, the number 5 spot, which is that first wild card spot, is the team that's going to travel to Baltimore to play the Ravens. And of any of these teams that have won divisions in the AFC, I think I would much rather play the Ravens right now than any other team in there, because every other team in the AFC is trending hot and looks like they're going to be really, really difficult to contend with. With how inconsistent they have been at times this year and with the defense that is aging and susceptible, if I'm a wildcard team in the AFC, I absolutely want the Ravens in that first round in that wildcard game. So basically, they all do have something to play for. They all have, seedings and who gets the byes and who gets to play who. So all those teams in the AFC do still have something to play for this week, but again, only really in terms of seeding. But if you pop over to the NFC, goddamn, the NFC has just a shit ton of the NFC looks like a car wreck in the playoff picture right now. So we're just going to look over, we're going to take a peek here at the NFC playoff scenarios with these week 17 games, just to give you a real taste of how important week 17 really is. We're going to start with the Chicago Bears. We're going to start with the teams that are on the outside right now, kind of looking in. The Chicago Bears can clinch the wild card if they win and Minnesota loses or ties, or if they tie and Minnesota loses. The Vikings can clinch a wild card if they win, if they tie or Chicago loses, if they tie and Chicago loses or ties, or they're in with a Dallas loss or a tie, plus a New York Giants loss or a tie, and a Chicago loss outright. I told you this was a clusterfuck, and we are just getting started. The New York Giants, again, we're going to talk about those 3 teams that's in there in the NFC East, the chance to still win the division or get absolutely nothing at all. We're going to start with the Giants. The Giants can clinch a wild card spot only if these things happen. If the Giants win, Dallas loses or ties, Chicago loses, and Minnesota loses. The Cowboys still have a chance to win the division. For the Cowboys, it's division or nothing. They can't get a wild card spot. They can only win that division and host a game to get into the playoffs. The Cowboys will clinch that division outright if they win. That's it. Cowboys win, they get the division. The Redskins can clinch the division if they win or tie, or the Redskins can clinch a wild card spot if Chicago loses and Minnesota loses. Then we go down and we take a look at the teams in the West, because the teams in the West, that division is still up for grabs. You've got the Seahawks, who've just come on so strong here. The Seahawks can clinch the division if they win and San Fran loses. Or they can even clinch a bye. Who would have thought that the Seahawks would be able to say, we can still clinch a bye week with something that happens in week 17? If the Seahawks win and both San Fran and Green Bay lose in week 17, the Seahawks have a first round bye. That's how close things are in the NFC. The 49ers, if they win or they tie, they clinch that division. Or if Seattle loses or ties, San Fran's got the division as well. Or the Niners can clinch a bye if they win and Green Bay loses or ties, or if they tie and Green Bay loses outright. And the final team we're going to talk about is those Packers. The Packers can clinch a bye week if they win, if they tie and San Francisco loses or ties, or if San Francisco loses and Seattle loses or ties. Everybody got that? Now, with all that being said and clarified, I have a question that I want to ask you. We've got all those playoff scenarios out of the way. We can't really guess or estimate exactly what's going to happen, but here's something I want to ask you. We have a little football tradition coming up here, Black Monday. That is, of course, the Monday, the day after the season ends at the end of week 17, when bad coaches or good coaches that have just not performed tend to get the old heave-ho. My question is, I am setting the over-under officially on coach firings at 6.5. My question to you is, are you going over or under 6.5 coaches fired on Black Monday? Now we're going to take a look at my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks from week 16 in the NFL. I'm going to tell you up front, I aced it this week. 4-0 on platinum, gold, silver, and bronze in week 16. So we're going to take a look at them right now. We're going to start with the platinum pick at the New England Patriots to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. This game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. New England ends up taking it 23-16. I wouldn't have thought they would have A, given up 16 points to the Jags, and B, only scored 23 points themselves. But, you know, who knows? Maybe this was something of a letdown game for them. Maybe they took their foot off the pedal and Jacksonville damn near capitalized there. I mean, they only lost this game by a score. That being said, New England rolled, took that game. We're going to take a look at the gold pick now, which was, let me find it here on my page. I had the Denver Broncos beating the Cleveland Browns in Denver. Denver went out and did that, of course, very convincingly, 34-12. Gold pick goes to me. Silver pick, my 14-pointer, was the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Another convincing one there. Atlanta 31, Detroit 18. And taking a look at the bronze pick, which interestingly enough was the biggest blowout of the week, the Green Bay Packers to beat the Tennessee Titans at home, and did they ever. They put up 55 on the poor Titans, 55-7. On my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for the year, I am 50-14. I've only got 4 left to go. You're going to find out what those last 4 picks are here in a couple of minutes. Now, time to take a look at the private and the public pick'em and how the rest of my picks did in week 16. And in celebration of what was a great week 16. It's not a beer this time. It's a Canadian tradition, a little bit of Canada Dry ginger ale for you. Because what a week 16 was. 14-2 on my picks in week 16. My best week to date. Correct and incorrect are going to be right there for you. In the private pick'em, I also put up the year's top score, which we'll talk about here in a second. With my 14-2, I was 151, 88-1 overall for the season. Has me sitting in the 86th percentile on Yahoo. So, yeah. Take a look at the private pick'em. I do still sit in 3rd place out of 11, 1,285 of 1,929 possible confidence points, a clip of 67% for the year. But in week 16, I put up the league's top score on the season. 131 out of 136 possible confidence points, a clip of 96%, the best single week of anybody in the league thus far this year. So, yeah, to me again. Of course, then, obviously, Week 16's winner, the face you know and love, Bridgewater's finest. Again, 14-2, 131 out of 136, 96% clip on the year. Tom Mullins still leads the league. I'm only a single point out of second place. We have the rest of the playoffs still to go here in our private pool. Tom on the season, 158, 81 and 1. 1,349 out of 1,929 possible confidence points, a clip of 70%. Now let's take a look at my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for the final week of the NFL season, Week 17. We're going to start at the bottom with the bronze pick, the New York Giants playing at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a divisional game that I'm sure when the schedule makers were making the schedule prior to the season, they thought this is going to be a game for this division. Not so much, but the Giants do still have something to play for. All Philly has to play for is the fact that this is likely Andy Reid's last game as head coach, potentially Michael Vick's last game as quarterback. And yes, Michael Vick is playing this week because of the broken hand, I believe it was, to Nick Foles. So does Vic have something to prove? Absolutely. Does Andy Reid have something to prove? Quite possibly. I think the book is sort of out on Andy Reid at this point. But still, he is definitely going to want to go out there and win in, again, what is likely his last game as the Eagles coach. Other side of the football, New York Giants are not out of this thing playoff-wise. The Giants can still sneak into a wild card spot there. Again, as we mentioned earlier, they need a lot of stuff to happen. I think the Giants are going to come out motivated, powerful, much better than they have been in the last couple of weeks because they are a better team than they have shown in the last couple of weeks. I'm taking the Giants in their stadium to beat the Eagles for my bronze pick. The silver pick, I've taken the San Diego Chargers playing at home against the Oakland Raiders. Now, you might ask, Justin, this is the last week of the season. This is important. What the hell are you doing picking a Chargers versus Raiders game? Well, there is a reason for it. In all likelihood, this is Norv Turner's last game coaching the San Diego Chargers. They're playing in San Diego. That team has owed so much of its success, the success that it has had, to Norv Turner and Norv Turner's system. That is a team that is better on paper than what the results showed. And they're going to be playing their season finale at home against a team that hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 games. So you can see which way I'm leaning with this. The Chargers are going to send Norv Turner home, send him packing with a big old smile on his face because they are going to destroy the Oakland Raiders. Bet your house on it. San Diego beats Oakland at home for my silver pick. The gold pick. The marquee game of the week. The game for the NFC East. The Washington Redskins. Who thought we were going to be saying that? Playing at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Who thought we were going to be saying that? This is absolutely the game of the week to watch, the Giants and the Redskins. Sorry, the Cowboys and the Redskins. My bad. Again, I keep thinking that these are not the 2 teams in this division that should be playing for the division, so sorry I got you screwed up. What more can you say about Robert Griffin III and this Redskins team? I mean, what else can you say about them that hasn't already been said? Nobody thought that with a rookie quarterback, the Redskins would be in a position to win this division. As a matter of fact, the masked tweeter, one of the biggest Redskins fans I've ever seen, Daddy, I asked him straight out, Tweeter, what are the Redskins' chances of winning this division? Tweeter looked me right in the sunglasses and said, no chance. Tweeter, you gotta have some faith, brother. I know you're loving it now, though. Dallas, been playing real well lately, has put themselves in the position where if they win, they got the division. But if they lose, they're out on their asses. So this is put up or shut up for this Cowboys team. We all know if the Cowboys get into the playoffs, they're going to lose in the first round anyway. So really, what's the point? Redskins, Daddy. Redskins to beat the Cowboys at home. My gold pick, RG3, taking that team to the playoffs. That takes us to the platinum pick. We got the Cincinnati Bengals playing at home against the Baltimore Ravens. We mentioned this before. The Ravens have nothing to play for in this game. I expect to see Ravens starters maybe for the first quarter, maybe for the first half. That is it. I do not expect them to play any longer than that. They'll start pulling their starters, getting them rested up for the wild card weekend. And Cincinnati really here has everything to play for, because Cincinnati, again, I guarantee you, would rather play Baltimore, a team they know very well, than to have to go and play New England, or heaven for fucking bid, have to play either Denver or Houston. Because Cincinnati wants none of either of those teams. But Cincinnati can beat Baltimore at 100%. Cincinnati can absolutely beat Baltimore in Week 17. Take the Bengals to beat the Ravens at home for my platinum pick. Now it's time to take a look at the rest of my picks for Week 17 in the NFL. Playoff videos are coming up soon, baby. But check out Week 17. Here they come. That's the Week 17 show for you, folks. As you know, if you watched my videos last year, my playoff videos have a different vibe to them. I try to get a lot more intellectual and get a lot more in-depth with the playoff videos than I do just with these weekly sort of quick hits where I'm trying to do between 13 and 16 games every week. The playoff videos are a lot lower key. They're a lot more analytical. So unfortunately, this is the end of my weekly pick show. However, I can promise you one thing. If Bridgewater's Finest is still walking, he's going to be on your YouTube screens for NFL 2013-2014. I will be bringing this pick show back next year. Comments, hate, and love in the comments section below. Please come back, check out my playoff videos. I think you're really going to love them. Some of my most successful videos of all time were my playoff videos from last season. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. That is the end of Justin's weekly NFL pick show for the 2012-2013 NFL season. Shout out to Geo Knows, shout out to Masked Tweeter, shout out to every single one of these crazy bastards that's on here doing NFL picks every week. There's a lot of really entertaining guys that know a lot of their shit, and you should be going and checking out every single one of them. Hell, I might even link all the ones I know in the description of this video. That'd be a good idea. Check the description below for every single one of my boys who comes on here and does this every week. I will see you guys next season.